Into the crack house. Into the crack house. Into the crack house.
Welcome to Fort Fritz Minisode 54. I am your host, Fritz, joined as always by co-host Mandaddy.
Hi.
Angela.
Hello.
And Kaz.
Buenos dias.
Bueno dia to you, my friend.
Thank you.
So it's been, 9 years?
About that.
Sounds like it.
Since we've done a podcast.
Already?
Yeah, it really has been.
You guys use great moisturizer.
You look so...
It's like that Facebook before and after thing we got going on.
It really is.
9 whole years.
Your jeans, remarkably, are still fashionable.
Damn.
How did you know back then that they were still going to be this fashionable?
It's all that
I got an
canned
eye for
chili.
classic fashion. What can I say?
There you go.
Gap.
So we have spent so much time off because for good reason. You know, you should never find yourself in one of those situations where you have to do anything, and sometimes you have to take time off, and you have to say, "Let's just relax." Hang out with our friends and family, and that's what we do every year. So this is going into our third season, and everyone wants to ask, are you guys still doing the podcast? You haven't
still doing it, B?
posted
right
in
here.
several weeks.
Hello.
And that's why we do it every year. So the really, those fans, and there are several out there, but a handful who have really been so supportive, and we love you, and
Thank
you
you.
know who you are. If anyone ever asks, what's going on? Are they done? Just say, they do this every year.
Yeah. It's like when you watch a
We gotta
TV show.
recharge.
If you like a series, the series goes off for a little while so they can regroup and rewrite, and they come back and start the series again,
You
Exactly.
definitely need to step away, clean slate, blank canvas,
yeah.
come
Exactly.
back to it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Recharge the batteries.
Get
Yeah.
a breath.
From everything.
Get a
This
breath.
isn't easy, people.
Exactly. Thank you. Go make your own Fort Fritz. We'll see you on the other side.
Shut up.
Don't tell people to make their
do
own.
that, then, like,
We'll
everyone will
encourage
have
them.
a podcast.
We'll encourage them
They
to
don't
Oh,
know
tell
how
their own
easy
thing.
this is.
They'll
No, I agree. Kaz is right. Angela, Mandaddy, shut up. Kaz is
But let's see you do it without a break. Let's see you do it year in, year
Yeah,
out, month
yeah.
after month, and no break. We'll see you then
yeah. I mean,
at
so
the podcast Oscars.
think
Podskers.
The Podskars.
the iHeartRadio Podcast Awards. The most extended breaks between seasons. True Detective nominated.
Game of Thrones.
Fort Fritz
House of Cards.
and House of Cards. And the winner
Yeah.
is True Detective. Like a motherfucker. Hey,
Every
guys,
time.
next year, we're due. It's like,
McConaughey this time and never again.
it's personal.
Step past that
Is he
line.
up there with the people you want to hang with? Like McConaughey
At this
just
point,
seems
yes.
like,
Yes.
and it
At
seems
this
like
point, yes.
he would choose you.
Listen.
Oh my
Like
God,
you'd be
yeah.
walking down the highway and all of a sudden McConaughey pulls out, he's like, get in. And you just have a
Oh, yeah.
weekend and then he just drops you off. But no time has passed in your world.
I would.
Yeah, that's actually true.
It's like when you go-
because
but
time is a
everyone
flat
else is-
circle.
but everyone else is-
everything
Oh,
just
bang.
happens again.
Whoa.
There you
So,
go.
There you go.
But what if you
So
come
good.
back and everyone else is older? Like if you went at light speed and you come back
Just
and
me and
everyone's older.
McConaughey
So
are like fucking like.
when you hang out with McConaughey, everyone else ages except you.
But that's also an Interstellar. Do you
That's
see?
right. Oh my God!
my God.
Do
Do
you
you
think about
see?
that? It all makes sense now. Timba, his
Because
eyes open.
McConaughey had his reconnaissance, and he just became this like wise man.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome back, people.
Yeah.
All of this is blowing my mind. So,
So McConaughey is the space baby.
yes.
Space baby.
McConaughey Space Baby is my new band.
Interstellar 2, starring McConaughey Space Baby. Soundtrack by McConaughey Space Baby 2.
Is that the one that doesn't have Kevin from The Office?
It's
in
just,
it?
No,
it's just
it
you doing
doesn't.
your fucking sleep paralysis voice, like.
But everything's just like, all right.
Yes, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. The guy more to be real cool.
Just being super positive, sleep paralysis.
They're really good. They're looking really good, man. Have a good time. Get out there, join. Let's play some bongos. Oh yeah.
Well, if he says play bongos, we'll play bongos.
Yeah.
You just
That'll
do.
be fine.
You
No.
just do.
Seriously, thank you all for, sticking with us. Again, the people who know, and if not, it's okay. There's plenty of time to learn. But I will say this. You can always follow us on social media. On Facebook, just do @Fort Fritz. On Instagram, @Fort Fritz. On Twitter, it's @Fort Fritz MCT,
The Mooncast Troop.
which is the Mooncast Troop, which goes back to our days producing fake spots or commercials for Real Radio 104.1. But now, let's move on to current events, because this is something that is absolutely fascinating. Harry Reid. What do you guys know about Harry Reid?
Cool name.
Good,
Yeah.
Great name. Great
Points.
porn name.
Yeah,
Solid.
very funny
Points.
name, actually.
Points. Yeah, because you don't know what it means, really.
Just
Harry
Harry. Just in
Reid.
general. It's like, hi, I'm Harry. Well, aren't we all?
Adjective and then a noun.
So Harry Reid, if he had a job, what would it be?
Woodwind instrument.
Yeah. making furry
Not
reeds.
playing one, just being one.
So Harry Reid was the Senate Majority Leader. Recently he's crept back into the news 5 days ago. Harry Reid said, quote, I personally don't know if there exists little green men other places. I kind of doubt that, but I do believe that the information we have indicates we should do a lot more study, the Nevada Democrat said. Quote, we have hundreds and hundreds of people that have seen the same thing, something in the sky. It moves a certain way, unquote. To which arena do you think he is directing this quote? Who in the hundreds and hundreds of people, unquote, do you think he's referring to?
McDonald's workers.
It is not a fast food industry, so think of the opposite pretty much of fast food.
Opposite of fast food.
Surgeons.
Farmers.
Farmers, surgeons, combine the two. What do we
That'd be a great
Organ farmers?
organ farmer. It's like genetic opera. All of a
That's
sudden.
great. Organ farmers.
Nice.
He is referring to, any last stabs? Anyone know?
I got nothing.
He is referring to people who have served. Who have served our nation.
Oh.
The topic of UFOs, and this is from Roll Call, rollcall.com. The topic of UFOs was on Reed's mind Thursday, January 9th, because his interview with KNPR came just before he said he was scheduled to talk with an important senator about setting up a way for members of the military to support exploring suspicious sightings without facing retribution. You have always heard from all of our different UFO stories that we've talked about here, people who are in a position of trust talking about something they cannot explain. And he goes on to say, I'm going to have a call with a member of the Senate in an hour or two where we have people in the military who want to come and tell somebody what they've seen. Thoughts?
It's just it's always been there, that there's always been reports, even going back to Project Blue Book and stuff like that. There's always been military, because they're the ones out there flying around and they've got the best tech, and so there's always been this dripping down of information that you wonder, is it that we're just getting that little bit of leakage because there's something way bigger out there, or is it always just been like the government, like they know something or they refuse to let us know something,
Yeah, absolutely. The idea that he is going to speak with senators about this topic tells you something.
I think that we talked about this, that the nation's approach to how they disseminate these UFO events is very different, right? The U.S. is different than is Japan,
France,
or Australia, or France.
France released, I think, thousands just a couple of years ago.
The way that it's discovered and then reported and then classified or declassified is very, to me, it seems very much slower in the United States. We get information and then 15, 20 years later, oh, hey, we declassified some stuff from the 70s and the 80s, which is not even 15 years ago at this point. That would have been the 2000s. So never mind. Damn, I'm old as shit. But stop.
My hip just gave out.
Well, this is
Don't laugh so hard.
This is specifically Harry Reid talking about going to members of Congress saying, just hear these people out.
Correct.
These are people in submarines who have seen crafts come out of the ocean, and also things that look like drones or kites keeping in contact with jets.
And they're also being in the military and that culture of who knows what they're being told that they should say, what not to say, keep your mouth shut.
Sure.
If you see anything, keep that on the level of these higher ups. Don't say anything, don't tell anybody anything, and you just kind of keep your mouth shut and don't do anything. So you know, you have people coming out of the military that have stories to tell that they were probably afraid to say earlier because they could easily just be like, you are exhausted and kind of put you on some kind of psych meds and you don't know, so you don't say anything. But those are the people that are going to probably see those things first.
They make it into a career in the U.S. military. You're like, what's your career worth to you? You know what I mean? And then it becomes like a 20-year, like, don't say anything until, like, you know, whatever, 30 years and we can declassify this or whatever. And then by that time, you know, no one gives a shit. Like,
Yeah, and it's too late. Right.
Do you think that when the presidents come in, after a certain point, they get a full debriefing? And do you think 2 years ago they went, we're not going to give them the debriefing?
I don't know what he's going to do with it.
Yeah, it just,
Daddy, if you were asking me, Fritz.
Yes. I forgot about Reset. I forgot about that.
It's all right. It's a new season. You know.
You remember that, Kaz?
You know,
How about
we
you,
always
Angela?
remember that, man,
Remember
Daddy.
that?
Yeah, of course.
So, gang. Again, we took time off, and that's okay. It's okay to recharge. Kaz's beard is a lot bigger. A lot bigger.
Is that gooder?
No,
It's way gooder.
Ooh, it's
way
way
gooder.
gooder.
It's way gooder.
Way gooder.
I think that if there is any kind of like idea that people do or do not talk, this is a great way of Harry Reid, who I think is a Nevada Democratic senator. He was the ex-majority speaker of the House. He is trying to, in the public's eye, create a back channel for people. Kaz and Angela have both said these people see things probably more so than the average Joe or Jane, and they are interested in having what they have seen reported to the proper military channel. And Harry Reid is saying, look, and I will let the entire public know because politics should be transparent.
Should be.
These are people who are on the front lines and they're seeing something that they have never, ever seen before. And it should be reported in an avenue that is safe.
He needs to link up with Tom DeLonge. We need all this to go
There
through
you
Tom
go.
DeLonge.
There you go.
If you got a space thing, go through Tom. Tom will decide whether or not it's real, or we need to get it out there, explore it, or whatever. Like
Tom DeLonge was in The Descendants.
Blink 182.
Blink 182.
he was actually Milo in The Descendants.
And actually, Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio replaced him when Blink 182 went on tour recently.
And Angela's a bit of an Alkaline Trio fan.
Just a bit.
This I've heard.
Just a bit.
So, let's first talk about what you got, Angela. What do you have there? Tell us about your theories and your watchings.
All right. True Detective Season 3 has started off with an amazing first episode.
Is it better than
But they
season
dropped two.
They
They
dropped
dropped two?
Yeah, there's 2 episodes they
What?
dropped.
Wait.
Yeah, there's another episode there you didn't watch.
Not on
What a
my
dick.
HBO account.
Yeah, I heard. Was it an extra long episode?
No.
I saw a thing with 2 episodes. I'm pretty sure they dropped.
You
2.
saw 2 episodes?
I didn't. I haven't seen it yet, but I was.
There was the episode, and then they did a whole breakdown of the episodes, and then that might have been what you saw.
Well, no, I haven't watched
Cute.
it. I haven't watched it. This is just from me reading stuff and trying not to read too much, so I don't
Well,
have it
you're
spoiled.
kind of confusing because I heard someone go see a preview, and they did see the first 2 episodes in a preview a couple weeks ago. But I did not see the second episode.
Well, also
up
you have
on
the
HBO.
super secret Netflix.
Yep.
No, I actually have real HBO too.
Well, but
I have
you're
to.
connected into underground channels.
Time out.
Is what I'm saying.
Time out. When they say they went to a preview and they saw the 2 episodes,
Correct.
does that mean that one file was incorrectly uploaded and it's 95 minutes long and it's like episode 1 and 2?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Damn.
We're gonna have to check after
We're
this.
gonna-
We're gonna
yeah.
have to log
make sure.
in.
So
to
your review is
account.
based on episode 1 of
Okay.
this.
Yes.
Okay. And how do you feel about it?
So if you have watched season 1 of True Detective and loved it, and season 2 and did not like it, you're a normal human being.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We all fall
Solid.
in that.
Promo. That's a fucking promo. And that
Vince
set up-
Vaughn, we're sorry. If you ever get the chance to
Here's the
hear
thing.
this, Vince Vaughn, I love
Here's
you.
the thing.
Yeah.
I don't blame any of the actors for season
No.
2. The writer went
Something
off his rocker with that. He was not contained. I heard
Yes.
he was directing everything, so it just went everywhere. Whereas season 1,
He was writing and directing?
yes, and so it just
I didn't
kind of
know that.
went nuts. It just it was too complicated. There were too many
It's all over the place.
main characters or too many backstories.
All over the place.
Season 1 is just this beautiful, tight knit, and I've been rewatching it. It's delicious. It's like this delicious 8-episode, right? 8-episode season.
Something like that, yeah. They usually, and that's so good sometimes, where it's just enough, where it's not so.
They're not beating you over the head with it.
And just for those of you who have never watched True Detective, each season is completely separate, so you don't have to watch season 2 to understand season 1, or vice versa.
So it's like American Horror Story.
Yeah,
yes.
Correct.
And you have completely different actors, storylines, locations. I feel like season 1 was so fabulous because it was, and I know I've used this phrase before, that Southern Gothic feel.
Yeah.
Oh, so much.
Louisiana, and the timeline was like early 90s, 2002, and 2012, 2013, roughly.
They kind of shifted around, yeah.
And
right before that, like, massive technological surveillance godhead that just was unleashed, right? Like starting in like
swampness.
but
starting in like early 2000, like that's when you started to see cameras everywhere,
which is
so this is right before that. So they don't know who created these crimes.
But you're also talking about Louisiana,
right?
Like small town Louisiana. So even if there's that out there, they're probably going to be one of the last places to get some kind of system like that, or be open to some kind of system like that. So Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, as we were discussing earlier, Matthew McConaughey, just brilliant in that. And Woody Harrelson's also fantastic in that season as well. So if you really liked season 1, you're really going to like season 3.
Yes.
That's what I want to hear.
Yes.
That first episode already, it's based in Arkansas.
Oh, God.
So it's like there's something about
one of the scariest states that exist.
Oh, no.
It's legit. If you're like in a state where there are things that can happen in corners that no one can see, like
no one's around to hear you.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, it would be
that's
that
perfect.
and or Florida.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Like,
when you're watching season 1, there's so many scenes that you're like, if you live in Florida, you've been to that quote unquote that neighborhood.
Oh,
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
like you
For sure.
know that area outside of town. You go to a house party that doesn't feel very safe. You know, like
how did I end up
yes,
here?
yeah,
That old man starts talking to you and you don't understand what the fuck he's saying. And
yeah.
all of a sudden he's got a really angry look on his face.
And you're like
in the
walking
trailer.
where all of your friends are, like kind of like you stopped drinking an hour ago, like you're
Just
ready to
making
go.
plans to escape.
Yeah, exactly.
And
The
especially if
bonfire's
you're
getting too big.
Yeah.
So
any
you-
band touring around, you've been at that party, you're like, okay, we should have gone to this
Yeah.
party.
So you lean in to hear what he has to say, and then suddenly you did it way too fast on mushrooms, and he goes, "You're trying to bow up on me?" And you go, "No, honestly." But Mushmouth just sounds like, "Yeah, fight me," and then
This sounds oddly specific. Did this happen to
You're
you?
definitely
In Arkansas?
Gainesville.
You're in a tiff
Gainesville?
with Florida
Nice.
I think it's happened to just everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that happens.
If you're from the
if you've been-
South.
if you've been in Florida for like enough years, you definitely get into a tiff with an old man with a mush mouth.
How
So-
dare you?
I am that old man with a bunch of mouth.
I literally just described myself.
You've become that person now. Here we are. But Marshall Ali is fantastic. He is Detective Hayes in it. And
What do we know him from?
We know him from Luke Cage. He's Cottonmouth.
Oh, okay.
That's the one. See, exactly.
And
Meth
he's in
mouth.
House of Cards as Remy Denton.
Remy.
Remy Denton
There
in
you
House
go.
of Cards.
Remy is a
And he was also in
beautiful name.
Moonlight, and he won the Oscar, I believe.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Was
He
that the
did.
one with Cher and
Moonlight was the one that was
That was
filmed.
Moonlighting?
That's Moonlighting, but Moonlight.
That's
good-
Moonstruck,
Oh,
everybody.
sorry.
Moonlighting was a show with Bruce Willis.
With
but,
Bruce Willis and
Sybil
Sybil
Shepherd.
Shepherd.
who seems like the word insufferable was made for her.
Wait, no, hold on.
Yikes.
Moonlighting was Bruce Willis and
Shots
Cher.
fired.
No.
at Sybil
Wow.
Shepherd.
No, that's Nick Cage.
Yo, Sybil, if you're listening, man,
Bring
daddy.
Bring it, Sybil.
Wow.
If that's your real name.
Go sing some smoky ballads at me, whatever.
Damn.
Always had a problem with Sybil Shepherd. I don't know why.
shit, you guys-
She's like the
Anyway.
Okoe of people.
Wow. What?
Bring it, Sybil.
Yo, you heard that? Coey, my boy's booing up.
Yo, I don't know that I've ever heard anyone get that like fucking serious about Sybil
Hateful
Shepherd.
about
That's,
Sybil
that's
shit.
the
You
new
don't
like
know me.
hashtag for Fort Fritz. Is bring it, Sybil.
Sybil.
And it's Man Daddy.
I love it.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
season 3 of True Detective is fantastic.
Well, that's great to
So,
hear.
it does the same thing as season 1. You're going through time, 1980, 1990, and 2015. And so you're watching him in his like 30s as a detective going through this case, and he has some kind of, they haven't really said exactly what it is, but he's losing his memory. You're not sure if it's like from some injury or an illness like dementia or Alzheimer's. You're not really sure yet.
Interesting.
And
Like
there-
Memento sort of thing going on
a
almost?
little bit. So he's not
Like
really.
it's going to go that way?
I'm not sure, but you're also kind of getting that hint of the cult thing going on, like they did in season 1.
Nice. That was the best
Or
part.
religion,
they
or
never
the
really
creepiness.
resolved that,
no.
did they?
Well,
The-
it was
the
that
yellow-
Carcosa thing, the king in yellow.
Yeah, the Yellow King. Or King
And they're also hinting to Lovecraft again that there was something with the Forest of Lang, which actually isn't a real story, but Lovecraft has something that involves Lang. So it's the first episode that I've watched, so I'm not sure if they're going to continue with that or if that was kind of an Easter egg to the first season.
Good pickup.
So it looks like it's going to be really good. I think everyone who is a fan of season 1 of True Detective is going to really enjoy season 3.
Well, thank God.
Nice.
I don't really want to get into the story yet because you don't really know exactly what's happened aside from anything that I could spoil. But
The first episode is always really good because they ended on like they're going to end it on like the jaunty like end theme or whatever, and it's very like wrapped up, right? That's how they did the first episode of season 1. At least it was very much like
yes,
Season 1?
was that like start asking the right questions or whatever?
yeah. I mean, because you get a lot, you get a lot in that first episode.
It's
like you
satisfying
do.
as hell.
Yes.
Right.
It's
Okay.
that. It's
It
just,
is.
It's a well-produced, satisfying first
Well,
season.
because every episode feels like a movie.
Yes.
I
Right.
mean, like you're watching a whole episode and you're like, that was just one episode.
That's awesome.
And
I'm excited.
And so it's the same thing a little bit where there's missing kids. So that's kind of the storyline, and asking all these people that saw them, and there's like trouble with the parents, and so it's like, did the dad do something? He was drinking, like so. And then you also have this guy who has memory loss. So he's also
Is he
misremembering
even-
things and like things like all of a sudden a line will be said like at the same time from a different time zone. So he's taken out of it. So you're always going in and out of different time zones. And if you watched Castle Rock, they did a kind of an episode on that.
Castle Rock was written by Stephen King.
It was based on Stephen King's writing. I forget
J.J.
who-
Abrams.
Yeah, it was.
Did he do Abrams?
He,
Yeah.
he produced it. I never. We just the last episode.
fell off
like,
on Castle
the
Rock too,
very
dog.
last episode,
I
we
did
got
too.
like midway through the last episode. We're like, you know what? Don't care.
Come
Like
on.
I enjoyed it so much. We Phillipsed it. That was totally Jim Phillips, where he would like love something and then just like the last one was, meh. And we were just like, it got to the point. It got so laborious in the last few episodes for some reason. We were just like,
That's
I
fair.
don't. No,
That's fair.
Yeah. And they had some episodes that were just brilliant.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
some that was just like, where are you going?
I agree. It was a little clunky at times.
But this doesn't sound
Yeah.
like that.
Here's a
not,
question.
Not yet, at least. I mean, that first episode was really good.
What is there a common person or producer or thread for True Detective? Is it just this show on HBO that has this mood to it, or is there a producer or something like that that's a common thread of all the episodes? Seasons. I don't even know.
Oh, like a writer
Or a producer or whatever.
It's Nick Pizzolatto.
So he is
Yes.
on all three.
He is the
showrunner,
creator,
Executive producer. or whatever.
executive producer,
Okay.
the writer. He did a lot of the directing, I believe, of season 2, which is one of those things. What people say was maybe the reason season 2 kind of got out of control and all over the place is because you had the same person doing everything, and you kind of need someone else in there to kind of rein things in
Correct.
a little bit. So, I mean, he has a brilliant mind and stories to tell. But yeah, so that's the guy, Pizzolito.
Okay, I just
Nick
didn't know.
Pizzolatto. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good
Yep.
question.
Very good question.
Yeah, that is a great question.
So overall, how many?
How many beer pulls?
I would say right now 6.5.
Whoa!
Off of one
It's a hell of a
episode?
jumping off point right
One
there.
episode?
Out of how many beard pulls
Seven.
possible?
Seven.
You're giving a
Seven.
6.5.
6.5 out of the gate. I'm watching this.
I was
Yeah.
and I
Jesus.
forgot to tell you Steven Dorff is also in it. And
What?
you don't even
The dwarf?
recognize him. You don't even recognize him. He's brilliant. He's great.
He's
That
in
Dwarf is a chameleon.
one of the best.
Yeah, he's
Marvel
totally a
movies of all
chameleon.
time.
He's totally a chameleon.
You never see the dwarf coming.
Was he the really small guy who would talk like this and hit the golf
That's dwarf
ball?
on golf.
That's Dwarf.
No.
Yeah, that's
Similar.
Who's the guy?
Similar.
he was the bad guy in Blade 1.
Yes, he was.
Who's the guy? Tim Curry? Tim
Conway.
Conway.
Tim Conway is awesome.
Tim
Curry
Conway
was Pennywise.
Yes,
I
he
was
was.
close.
And he was also Frankenfurter.
And I was gonna go to Game of Thrones things, but I talked so long about that
No.
I'm gonna pass it on.
Who the fuck cares?
I want
It's
to
a
hear
minisode.
it.
Sure.
I want to hear your theory.
Yeah, I
yeah.
just dropped the
Because
F-bomb.
the one
I just want to
thing,
hear it.
the one thing that flipped me the fuck out, we can say fuck,
Stop.
is on the one, you dropped more F-bombs than the fucking our treatment, bitch.
Hey, we're out!
In the one clip they showed with Daenerys and Jon Snow and Arya walking up to Sansa and her saying, "My queen" or whatever, Winterfell is yours. That I was like, fuck! I mean, that was such a cool little. I mean, you know it's coming, but to see it was just, I don't know, because they don't give us anything for the last year and a half.
I mean,
True.
let's be honest with HBO's trailers. They are always so vague and out of context.
Oh yeah,
I remember, now spoiler alert for anybody who's watching Game of Thrones is a little behind. I would like to.
I'm looking forward to the career of Ned Stark.
Yeah.
As
He's got
a
a full
cobbler.
campaign ahead of him. He's got many things to do.
Hats.
He's got a
mostly
good head
hats.
on his shoulders.
Yeah.
For now.
Nice. Jesus.
Dark.
Dark.
So
Dark.
there was always all those stark. There was that trailer for season 7 with Sansa kind of saying like the lone wolf from like needs the pack, and I forget what the whole thing was.
That's right.
And it sounded
lone
all
wolf
dark.
dies.
The lone wolf dies, but the pack
packs-
remains.
Yeah.
And it sounded very dark, and the way they did the trailer it kind of seemed like Sansa does something that you're not going to like. And at the end of season 7, like, that's not how that goes.
Yeah.
So,
Misdirection.
what are you sighing about, Cass?
I just didn't like how they played that whole thing with the Sansa like Arya thing. It was very.
I loved it
There's
because
a
I called
word.
it.
There's a word for that, like where they're showing the audience something that is clearly untrue, that neither of the characters are like aware of, like even trying to get like across. Like they were.
Is it a red herring?
Was it red
A
herring?
little
Is
bit.
it red herring?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Literary fuckery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a red herring. A prime example of this is in the Adam Sandler movie Punch Drunk Love. He sees an organ. I think it's a harmonium.
That was a liver.
Dropped off right in front of his shop.
Like a Wurlitzer.
And that's a Wurlitzer, which is an organ, but with like it's like 3 different tiers. And he sees it, and then you see the semi coming at it the entire time, and then at the last minute he kind of runs out and grabs it, and then the semi comes by. So he's learning this instrument, and at no other point in the movie is that instrument brought back out for like a grand orgasmic
Kind of
climax.
was that.
Huh.
So that's basically
No.
him.
Just to distract your attention.
Yep,
I don't
just to
really
take a chance.
think so because they were basically trying to make you.
It was misdirection. It was fake. It was misdirection.
That is
it was
that's a red
veiled
herring.
misdirection.
It's a
Here's-
red herring.
Here was my kind of like spin on that. It's like, for the most part, we are kind of watching the show from Littlefinger's perspective because he kind of knows everything.
Correct. I could say that.
And so to that last season, he
That
was
makes
watching.
sense.
He was watching them, but everything felt a little staged. Their arguments, their conversations, everything
But even when
seemed
they
a
were in
bit
private,
theatrical. But they weren't in private. If they were in a bedroom, a door was open. If they were talking
I'm
on,
gonna have to go back and
if they were
watch that
talking
now.
on
Oh,
a
shit.
bridge, people could have been around to hear, and they know that Littlefinger has people around
That's
listening.
true.
I mean, who
They
doesn't?
were doing all of that. They were doing all the. Arya learned so much. Why would she, stupidly enough, get caught by Littlefinger? She was doing all of that on purpose.
God, I gotta watch last season again.
Littlefinger's
now. This is
buckle
totally
face
making me-
when he
I gotta watch
realizes it's
episode
about
1.
him at
Word.
the trial
Oh,
is one of the
it's
tastiest
delicious,
thing when he looks
isn't
over he's like,
it?
Santa, please. He just realizes it's
I
all
loved you
falling
since you
apart.
were a girl.
Oh,
You may
God,
have loved
so
me
good.
once. It's just so delicious. It's so
anyway,
good.
If you haven't been caught up, catch up.
So we're not. So that last trailer that we see. Oh, well, the first one that we saw was Daenerys arriving at Winterfell. We're not really sure. Is she on a dragon? Did she just come on her horse? Like, how aggressive was this entrance into the north? I know they were coming from White Harbor. Like, how do they get there? So, anyway, Sansa looks a little smug, and so does Daenerys a little bit. Like, there seems to be
a little bit of a bitch off going on here.
there seems to be a little bit of like, Like Daenerys is kind of like, yeah, I'm me, and Sansa's like, yeah, I know who you are.
Where'd you get your hair done, bitch? Like,
yeah, it seems a little bit that. And then Jon looks very worried because Jon Snow still knows nothing. Like, about anything, really. If you really think about it, Jon Snow knows nothing. Bran knows he hasn't talked to Sam and Bran yet.
Shit.
Yeah,
So
Bran's going to have a lot of Bran time in this season.
Right.
You know, there's going to be an assload of Bran time.
Okay, so here's my weird ass theory. And this is like jumping the gun. And we're jumping the king. We're jumping the king. We're jumping to King's Landing right now.
I like this.
So Cersei's there by herself, no Jaime there, right? Now there have been some theories out there about Cersei becoming like the Night Queen. Like somehow becoming dark Night Queen.
Going like, well, she is going to be Dark Phoenix.
She would have to. Okay,
no, Cersei, not Sansa.
Oh, okay. Oh, Cersei.
Damn, Cersei.
Bro.
Wow.
Now I'm wondering, how is that going to go? I feel like it can go 3 ways. Are they going to conquer her and she just like, and he makes her into Ice Queen? Is she going to give herself up
to
become
the
Ice, like the Night Queen? Or are we going to like, is Qyburn gonna like somehow read what the children of the forest did to make the men into White Walkers, and he's gonna make her with dragon glass?
That's such a good idea.
Son of a bitch. This season is going to be balls. I mean, it's what, 6 episodes, I think?
It's only going to be 6, and every episode is going to be a movie.
6 movies. We're going to have 6 movies, and what is it that the actress that plays Brianna said that after the season finale, we're all going to need therapy.
Oh yeah, Gwendolyn Christie.
Oh, that's just like,
she's like, yeah, you're all going to need therapy. And also, Emilia Clarke, who plays Daenerys, said it effed her up. Like she's like going to have to like go to therapy from that.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
This is going to be screaming at your screen time, man. Nothing's better than shows that just actually give you that sort of response.
And let's remember that we're all watching this show as like this medieval show, but George R.R. Martin's like a sci-fi writer, so you don't know where it's going to go. It could go like super weird and crazy and strange because he's written like space operas and everything.
But this isn't him anymore.
It's not, but he's got a good
he's got
hand
a hand
in it.
Yeah, of course.
He's exec prod, right? Like he's making it.
So
it happen.
you're right in that regard.
He's doing something.
But it could go super weird and crazy.
I kind of hope it does.
Me
Why
too.
Wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
People will complain about that, but
they will
whatever.
complain no matter what
People
you do. Have we not learned that?
Everything.
Star Wars
Just
fans have proved
things.
that. Star Wars could give them no matter what. It's like, okay, well, here's this new movie. That's exactly like the old one. Well, here we've changed it up. That's not like the old one.
Where's Jar Jar Binks?
There's nothing you could do. You know, Star Trek, Star Wars, all across the board. That just
Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
I don't mean that.
You know what, Sybil Shepherd? What's up? Star Wars, what's up? George Lucas, like where you at, dog?
Bring it.
Come at me.
Sybil, George, we got you.
We
right
got
here.
you. Come over. See what it's like.
Militant.
See what it's like.
Get into the dark side.
Anyway,
those are my theories on Game of Thrones.
Those are pretty dope theories.
I like that.
Those are great.
I like that a
That's
lot.
what I'm thinking. What do you have for us, Kaz?
So I guess to tie into that briefly, I started reading George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood, 300 years of Targaryen history.
To tie into that briefly, to tie into that perfectly.
Yeah.
That's a fucking great send-off.
And that's nonfiction, right?
Correct. Yeah, no, this is 100% historical fact.
I swear some people are going to read that later and be like, and treat it like the Bible. Like
It's
all the Game
so
of Thrones
good.
books are going to be like, this
so-
happened.
It's so good.
Why not?
The story of how the first Targaryen, which the Targaryens are a race, I guess, like you wouldn't call them like a separate race, but they're different than normal people. And they took over this continent of Westeros of men and like these strange giants or whatever, all this stuff. But they're the only ones that had the access to dragons and being able to.
It helps.
It's like almost like the only ones that had nukes, right? They had nukes before anyone had nukes, and they could go and
Nukes
take
with
over.
wings.
But were they kind of like, were they reserved on it?
They were
or-
really hot people who just had nukes.
But did
They
they?
had lilac eyes and
They had-
silver
and silver hair.
hair.
Yeah, but did
and
they
nukes.
like blow up nukes a lot?
No,
Like, did
they were just
threaten-
cool for a
Well,
while. They were just
okay.
chill.
They
They were
had
chill for a while.
wildfire.
Okay, don't make me use my dragon.
Yeah,
They
because
were
that's
just
cool
chill.
as shit.
They were just like hanging out. Like I'm over here and I got my I'm chilling with my dragon. And they named him cool stuff or whatever, like Pete.
Yeah.
Meraxes.
Yeah, Pete Raxes.
Pete or Araxes.
Meraxes
Just as cool.
and Valerian.
So
Was anyone called like Booger? Or?
no. There was like
Phil.
Dreamfire and like
Dreamfire.
Moon
Oh.
or whatever.
Dreamfire.
It's a great, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
So anyway.
hearing really great names.
They're
But
good names.
okay, all right.
So anyway, the
Skillet
story
monkey.
of how they like took over this area was like very
Well, I don't even
Sausage scramble.
Now we're getting the Denny menu items.
Just Denny
the Dragon
shit.
Grand Slam.
Sriracha the dragon.
My favorite dragon was unleaded fuel only because no one knew what that meant. It was an ancient language.
That's when they're looking back at our history. They seem to worship the IPA and their beards.
So anyway, it's the George R. R. Martin, like you said, he's a sci-fi writer. Get into like his. I forgot what the name of it was. It was this story about a reporter who got in with this like 60s metal band who was getting into like satanic stuff, and then things started getting out of hand, and the guy is prolific. Like the man is a brilliant writer. Check him out. But this is basically a history book that he wrote on his own world that he created. And
this is George R. R. Martin?
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He wrote a history on his own stuff.
It's called Fire and Blood, 300 Years of Targaryen something. Or
Isn't that kind of like what the Silmarillion was in a way?
Correct, yeah. But he's already done two because he
the
did...
Silmarillion by...
How do you spell that?
Silmarillion. Because one of my favorite bands in high school was Marillion. So,
nice.
And they're based off the name Silmarillion. But yeah, the
History
Silmarillion
of
was a prequel to the Hobbit series that J.R. Tolkien wrote. So it's kind of the same thing. It's
I
like
have no idea.
George R. R. Martin is Tolkiening himself.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Anyway, man's a brilliant writer, and that book is fantastic, and the little bits of story that you get out of it are very interesting. However, I will say that, and it's not really a spoiler, kind of took me out of it when halfway through he decided to get silly and start naming one of the Tully house, actually, which is Catelyn Stark's girlhood home, the Tullys. Brynden Tully.
With the moon.
The Blackfish.
With the
Blackfish,
moon.
yeah.
Their ancestors are named Elmo, Oscar, Kermit. He started naming them after Sesame Street characters, and it was just in the middle. It's middle of the book. So all of a sudden,
he does weird things like that.
It's like Sir Elmo Tully, and you got to go like Sir Elmo Tully has like a storied career as like a soldier and a general, and you've got to go through this whole thing with Sir Elmo Tully, and I'm like, come on, dog, like it's taking me out of it a little bit.
Lady Pac-Man.
Who is Tully?
Exactly. The Tullys are
they live in River Run.
They're a family that is
but
established.
that's his own name, right? Like
the
that
last
he came
name
up
is
with
Tully.
Tully.
Tully, yeah, correct. But all of a sudden, this one generation in the middle of the book, and it's like stories of this history or whatever. They're all named like Elmo, Oscar, Grover.
Lady Big Bird
after Sesame Street characters.
Yeah, okay.
So he got like a weird hair up his ass and started like
Kind of takes you out a little bit.
A little bit. It was weird. However, like whatever.
He just did that to see if his editors were paying attention.
Yeah, right. He was like, you were supposed to like find and replace all these.
Sir Elmo Tully's a badass. First of all,
it was a joke.
Yeah.
Do you hear what with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon did with the original script for Good Will Hunting? Is that they started getting so much buzz, and so all these directors were asking for it, and so in the middle of the script, they added a gay sex scene between two of the main characters.
Hear about that.
Just that has nothing to do with the story.
Yes.
Just to see if anyone would bring it up, and only one producer brought it up, and that's the one they went with.
Nice.
Like, okay, you actually read the script.
Nice.
They just threw that in there, just like, let's see if they get on this.
That's how amazing that script was.
Yeah, everyone wanted it.
Only one person goes,
this is out of nowhere, dog.
Yeah, and then that's when they said
it's hot.
You were the only one.
I got boned up.
I actually only want to do that one scene.
I just want to cut all the chaff and get into this.
Its own thing off to the side, but I don't understand how it fits in with the rest of this. So anyway, Fire and Blood, go check it out. It came out recently. I dig it. That's not my mini though. I wanted to talk about I wanted to get into video games. That's my thing. Resident Evil 2 is getting.
What you know about that, dog?
Shit.
I didn't mean to. That was not an attack.
No, I got no. That is the
first,
more
than I do.
So Resident Evil 1, I couldn't play. It was just like completely inaccessible.
Yeah.
And I was too young to even like
Same
try.
Here. Same here.
It was just weird. The controls were weird.
Resident
Evil 2 came out. And it was this like, I got it for Christmas and I had no idea. It was a 2-disc, the first 2-disc game I ever got. And I was like, what the hell is this? So I put in the first disc. And the very beginning of it is the like onset of the zombie apocalypse from the perspective of a rookie police officer, Leon Campbell.
Yeah, but it's a second
Was
person
Leon
point
Kennedy.
of view. right?
Leon Kennedy, yes, thank you. Leon Kennedy.
It's a second person point of view, and I think that
you
was
get the,
the
like,
first
the fixed cameras from like all over. It's fixed camera.
That fixed camera, yeah, that's the second person point of view,
Right.
Where
Right.
you are actually playing it, and you're like, wait, so I have to.
Every camera change makes you have to reorient the
Yes.
way that you're going forward. It's like forward is now this way, and now forward is this way because the cameras are changing like a movie scene almost. Right?
And it's so dissociative,
Correct.
but beautiful.
So that's what
Terrifying.
We've talked about it with other people. Like, to me, that added to the element of survival horror was
Yes.
that it was very clunky. Nothing was like, I'm
Yep.
a badass and I'm just going to shoot all these zombies. You were like, every time you walked behind something or into another room, you were just like completely disoriented and things were just fucking coming out of nowhere and attacking you. And
Like you'd be in real life, you'd be so terrified you wouldn't just automatically go where you
No,
want to go.
what
You'd
you
be like,
gotta do,
"Durr!"
Right.
You know?
You had to orient yourself and pull out the right gun or whatever. It was like very strange. So anyway, they're making an HD remake of this, and the demo is actually currently available to download on PS4, Xbox One, PS4 Pro, PC, and whatever the
Sega
hell
Genesis.
else. The things that you can, like fucking play video games on nowadays. But it's actually a full. It's not just a remaster, which a remaster is for them to go back over and recast all of the
Textures.
the
and-
physical, the visual assets. This is a full remake of the game, which they are doing on the Resident Evil 7 engine. Go ahead.
So is that the actual remaster definition? Like they are re-rendering the individual layers
Remaster
so that they're
means
quicker?
touching it up. It's like somebody going back over a painting and touching it up.
going from low def to high def.
A remake
You know.
is for them to completely take it from a
Everything.
right, from a scratch engine into what they're making now. So this is a remake, and
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
yeah, this is a
Yeah, it's a remake. Oh,
of-
dude, the demo is it's he'll tell you more.
So they have abandoned. It's interesting that you brought it up. It's very interesting that you brought it up. They have abandoned the second person perspective. They are going with a full over the shoulder third person perspective.
Like from 4. That's
Correct.
where they pioneered it.
Correct.
From Resident Evil 4.
And
Yes.
they have also
The best
said
video
that,
game ever
unfortunately,
made.
for owners
That's
of the
3.
3 was Nemesis. What was 4?
4
3 was also second, and then
4 was the one that
four
were-
was the
4 was
first
when
one
they
in
added the-
Spanish, in Spanish in Spain, where you go to
Spain?
Spain
Yeah.
and you can just they got
the
the
best.
chainsaw and shit.
I just played it the other day
It's like
on
an
my
action-
GameCube.
It's an action game. Oh, I played it on GameCube for this.
I still have the Chicago typewriter. You can just walk around just killing
Fucking
everything.
nerd.
Total.
Anyway, so full remake,
Did you
going to
ever
be
play this,
third person
Angela?
over the
No?
shoulder.
Listen, I'm stuck in Nintendo 64. Mario Kart.
Yes.
That's it.
Keeping
That's
it
That's all I
real.
play.
Oh shit!
I actually had an Uber ride recently where the
shit.
dude's minivan, he had fucking 64 set up, and we were playing Mario Kart in the
Shut
back
the
of
fuck
it.
up.
As he was driving.
Yeah. It was tight.
No
Awesome.
way! Oh, that's my dream Uber.
And there was weird fucking. That's not my dream Uber. There was
I
the
want
weird
it.
rave lights in there.
You have to tell me who it was.
You can drive me because I'm too drunk right now.
Yeah, you got to hit that.
Almost.
Hit that.
Perfect. That was beautiful.
So they abandoned the second person perspective in favor of the third person. It gives it a little bit more of an action feel. However, they took away the loading screen doors. So now the zombies follow you from room to hallway to you can't escape by
Yeah,
just
they're
walking
coming.
out of a room. So it gives it more of a kind of a actiony feel. Like if you're gonna walk into an area, you gotta be ready for it.
So it's a new generation game now because it would, if you hit any kind of door, it would just show that slow, for atmosphere. Now it's just live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go out, the zombies are like,
yeah.
fuck, we're right after you. So they say that from the initial, views of it, that the storyline appears to be slightly changed. They're going to do some stuff to kind of mix it up a little bit, but it's roughly the same thing. And you are now, same as the 2-disc scenario, you have to select whether or not you're going to go through it with Leon or Claire. And there's no kind of combination of it or whatever. So they don't know at this point if going through with Leon and doing the things makes anything different going through the Claire version of it. But if you've ever played that game, then you understand that you get 2 different perspectives, essentially, of the same kind of event from the rookie police officer and then this kind of high school girl who ends up in the middle of this thing. And very one of my more formative video game experiences, and it's very cool, and I'm excited to check it out.
I'm going to be Team Claire immediately from
Claire off rip?
from the get go. Yeah, because she was my favorite.
She was a badass.
ending.
And she was also in, what's the name of it? Zero?
Yeah. Resident Evil 0.
Yeah. Where you're out in Antarctica or whatever. Yeah, anyway. I'm excited about it. So check it out, download it when it comes out.
Oh, but the coolest thing about it is it's the one shot. You get it, you download it, you have 30 minutes to play, and that's it.
That's right, correct. Yeah,
and then it bricks. You have 30 minutes to play this demo. You can do whatever you want. You get to go wherever you want, and you get 30 minutes to play this demo. And once it's over, it's bricks. It's done.
So you guys are talking about the brand new demo.
The demo. Yeah, it's called One Shot. It's the Resident Evil 2 remake One Shot demo.
And it's available January 11th through January 31st. So you got the end of the month to download it, do your 30 minutes, and then they're going to cut it off.
It's so good.
So we need to release this like now.
Yes.
Immediately. Like we should be just go live.
People
just
should
right
know
now.
this right now.
Hit the live button. Hit the live button.
Call all of our listeners.
We're going live.
Is he
Wait, do you actually have a live button?
Going live?
Wait.
He actually had that button all along. How do we not know this?
No, that just adds noise to it.
Oh.
I don't know. I can't.
It's like live. It's like
all right,
live.
well,
That's my mini, and I'm sticking to it.
That's fucking great.
Good deal.
wonderful.
That is good, man. That game was so fucking good.
Oh, this looks so good.
I'm excited about it.
It has enough of that old feel.
Resident Evil 7 was one of the most surprising horror video games that have come out in like a really long time. Actually, we did Silent Hill PT. That's never going to come out. That was just a sad kind of like reminder of corporate like shittiness. But
it doesn't matter because it's still out there.
Resident Evil 7. If you didn't get to play it,
Never played it. Really? You got to hit me, bro.
Do you have a peanut stuck in your...
I will.
Right there,
dude. Oh, so good.
There you go. He got it.
Quality.
You got
All
hit me
of
to that.
the different encounters that you go through in Resident Evil 7, like fucking quality.
I need
horror.
more horror survival horror in my
I'll
life.
just get it for you. I'll go pick it up.
PT is playable trailer.
Playable trailer. You got to come over to the Forge to play playable trailer, dog.
Kaz. Okay, so this is just full disclosure. Just we here at Fort Fritz, we value the access that you have with us, but at the same time, keep away a little bit. But we will say this. Kaz came over Christmas night,
Aww.
December 25th, and said,
And
you know what?
Lido.
I would love to come over and see your brown dog, Lido. We say white dog, brown dog every now and then. We have literally a white dog and a brown dog. Brown dog is Lido, and he goes, I need to come over see Lido. Had a great time with Lido. And then he goes, also, you got to play this scary ass game. and
Merry Christmas.
It was fucking incredible, and it's PT, and it stands for playable trailer. So kind of explain it a little bit, like what the actual player does.
It was, so I am a fan of a game series called Silent Hill, which is to me one of the most disturbing things that you could possibly engage in. Movie, book, series, whatever. It is horrifying. It is a horrifying experience, 100%. Silent Hill 2 is the scariest thing that I've done in my life. And
fog.
I will stand by that. However, playable trailer, which was supposed to be a demo for a new Silent Hill game that was coming out, which was going to be directed by none other than Guillermo del Toro.
Amazing.
And was going to be the executive producer was going to be Hideo Kojima, who was the executive producer and writer creator of the Metal Gear Solid series and Zone of the Enders, which no one played Zone of the Enders, but Metal Gear Solid was like one of the most gamey games that I've ever played in my entire life.
It's the best way to describe it.
It's so cool, and there's so many little nuanced things that happen in that game that were just, it would blow your fucking mind. I couldn't even get into it. But Hideo Kojima is extremely talented. Guillermo del Toro is extremely talented. And the main actor was going to be Norman Reedus of Walking Dead fame. And so they had put together this like star-studded cast and made a demo, which is essentially... And Jill said it at one point. You're like, you're just walking through this hallway over and over. There's one hallway that you can. It's like a half a rectangle. You make 2 right turns, and when you come out the other side, it resets itself. But things are different each time. And there's a radio that's playing that's telling you different things, and there's pictures that are displaying different things. It's a mindfuck, basically.
Literally, as soon as you start, you see this clock. It's a digital clock right in front of you, and it says a certain time. And then that's your first indication, like, okay, I'm in a house. And then you just start walking. And then I just kept looking up and seeing my wife and Corey next to her as she's walking down this corridor. And then they look at at the clock, and it's always the same time.
The guy on the radio is
Doing
getting
my own
more
thing.
sinister and saying weird things while you're walking through, and the lights changing, and like
I'm all
things
about
are
this.
appearing on the walls, and like the pictures are changing. They're getting like the eyes are X'd out on certain ones, and it is intense. It's
So
intense.
I return from my bath, and then
Your ablutions.
I do my
Great word.
constitutional, if you must know, and then I see the same corridor, and Kaz and my wife are like, and they're getting to the same clock. The time has not changed. I've got the
is
Q-tip in the
terrifying.
left ear, Q-tip in the right ear, and then they walk around a corner, and all of the lights are out in that corridor now. And they're like, see, so this has got to be, and then they both stop and they start talking to one another. Then they go around a corner and just like, there's cockroaches everywhere. And one time there was just like someone's back, like in the middle of the hallway.
It's so scary. We gotta play it.
Yeah,
we gotta
it's-
go do like a Fort Fritz like plays
what-
PT.
That would
Twitch
be,
it, yo.
that would be great. But like, it's one of those where I'm like, what are you guys doing?
What the fuck is Merry Christmas, guys? What's going on out here?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
anyway,
a creepy Christmas.
play if you have access to it. You will not if you are going to look at it right now because it was removed from the PlayStation Store because
shame.
of I guess a discrepancy with Hideo Kojima and the publishing company Konami, which was going to produce it. So I have it downloaded, and that actually makes that PS4 worth a little bit more money than your average PS4 because it has this copy of this thing that you can't get.
That's
on,
crazy.
on the normal store. So you want to check out Fort Fritz plays PT on Twitch. We'll figure that out at some point, but probably not tonight.
That's awesome.
Very, very nice. So I guess to end this little mini,
Yeah, what you got, man, daddy?
it's the one thing that has been dividing this country for the last month or so.
Immigration.
One large, thing that is just splitting the country into
A wall.
two giant factions screaming at each other. And of course, I'm speaking of the most important thing in America.
Mayonnaise.
To a
Not Miracle
giant-
Whip.
That's a big deal.
Thank you, by the
That's
way.
a big
Thank
deal.
you.
Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Are we
Miracle
team-
Whip
are-
maybe has a few uses, but it is
No.
not. It's a unitasker.
Are we team mayonnaise on Fort Fritz?
What
Oh,
is-
yeah.
Yeah. Team
So-
mayo.
So a mayonnaise is a what now?
It's an emulsion.
It's a dressing.
Emulsion. So what is that?
That's when you have a liquid, an oil and a liquid combined in a fluid manner.
It's sandwich lube.
Kaz was
Meat grease.
Grease sounds it's way closer to like
that's
the
great.
real.
Meat grease would be just a great, like competitive sport street racing event.
It's like luge, but not
Yeah.
really.
Original meat greaser.
Yeah, it's a surfboard wax.
My
you know.
daddy was a meat greaser, and I'll be a meat greaser. My son will grease the meat.
He shall also be called meat greaser. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So you're all called the same thing?
Yeah, that's just how it works.
Yeah. So Miracle Whip is not mayonnaise? Is there no egg?
no.
No,
It's
it's horrible.
It's just a weird.
It's
Why?
it's tangy, but not in a good way. It's like mayonnaise has been left out in the sun, and someone just threw it back in the fridge.
And then
like
put
too-
sugar in it.
Yeah,
or something.
it is sweet.
It's really
It's-
horrible.
So is it too much?
It's like the roller
Lemon?
skating rink of like sandwich spreads. Like it's
Oh.
fucking like just not to say that there was anything wrong with roller skating.
It's got like
rinks,
Earth, Wind, and Fire on a loop in the
but you
background.
just dealt with it on the weekend.
My parents dropped me off at Miracle Whip to get rid of me.
I was just about to say, like,
but kiss my
someone-
first girl at the Miracle Whip.
I mean, I'm a Vegenaise fan, you know?
I thought it was veganese.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's spelled VEGE.
Is it GIF or GIF?
So it's VEGE. So I guess most people would say Vegenaise.
Okay.
But because it's completely vegan, there is that, community who just say Veganese
Okay.
because it's easier to say, obviously that's vegan.
You would know better than I.
Well, vegetarian starts VEG and it ends AN. So the vegan is the end all be all of what a vegetarian should aspire to be. So
Nice.
it's that
Wow.
philosophy.
Got him.
Which really, it's like, are you going to put up and shut up? And, that's hard to do because every time you start a new diet, and until I'm dead, I will say this, every time you try something new, you have to have that support system around you to say, I'm not drinking. I'm not smoking. And then I'm not eating meat. I'm going vegan.
So I should put this steak down that I'm eating right now. I should put down this
No,
porterhouse.
unless you feel bad about
juicy.
No, I don't feel bad about it at all.
Juicy.
about
It's
what
good.
someone else
Just
has
I
dripping
said.
down your
I
beard.
should have cooked it, but I'm still okay with it.
Your hands are red.
So anyway, I'm gonna
I
leave it there.
declare bankruptcy.
You know, it's not how it works.
I
It's not
declare
how that works.
veganism.
How many? I wonder what the percentage of people that say they're vegan versus the ones that actually are. You know, and I'm not talking about slip-ups
Yeah.
or things like, oh, you had something. Like, I wonder
I
how
was
many
just
people
about
out
to
there
say,
it was
say they're
cooked
vegan, but then
within
go
the
home and plow through a cheesesteak.
A
Yep.
person was wearing the same apron as when they cooked your vegan meal versus when they didn't cook. They cooked some cheese or whatever. Like,
All right,
there's-
screw Bird Box. Talk about honey. What about vegans and honey? I think that's bullshit that vegans won't eat honey. The bees have made the honey for you. They want you to enjoy the honey. You're not hurting the bees. Eat the honey.
Well, I mean, so
or silk.
I think
So we-
people are bothered by the smoking the bees.
there are. I mean, there
No,
are.
the bees are fine with it. Like, oh yeah, you know what time it is? 4:20 and a half.
Yeah, so
You
like,
guys want to step out for a bit and let them get this honey?
That's basically what it is. It's like during
Just real
Thanksgiving
quick.
when your cool cousin shows up. Is what it
Real
is.
quick,
They
we'll just
you
go
know.
outside in the backyard and let them get the honey. We'll be right back.
I can only speculate, but I think it's because the bee species is so endangered and just it's threatened, if not critical, at this point. So it's
Oh,
one of
very
those.
much so.
It's one of those. If we can support people growing more bees at this point, we need to do that.
Can you grow bees?
Yeah, because
yeah.
People
because
really
when you-
need to talk to
Big
people in the
field of
Kennedy
bees.
Space Center, by the way.
Yo,
Kennedy Space
They need more
Center.
bees. They just have one. He's a bastard.
He's the most alpha bee of all time.
They
but-
have this one bee at the Kennedy Space Center that will fuck with you.
That needs to breed more of himself. They will
Chase
take
people
over
off
the
his
world.
land.
no, that's perfect, Angela. Thank you. Let's do this. We are going to do a little special mini too, and we're going to drop that in just a couple of days.
The
We were
content
attacked
bee.
by a bee at the Kennedy
A
Space
bee.
Center.
We were
A bee.
approached,
A one bee. A one bee.
approached aggressively, socially.
You embraced the bee.
I did.
Totally
I
was able to
always
just like
embraced
stave
the bee.
off all his advances. The rest of us were just complete
Running
pusses
around
in
like
front of
freaks.
the bee.
Yep.
He
She's
just
like-
really wanted some beer. He was a really big Bud Light fan.
Aw. Maybe
That's
that's
all
what it
they
was,
had
yeah.
to drink. Yeah, we had it.
We kept on
Buzz
saying,
Light.
you know,
Fancy
dilly
and crap
dilly and
stuff.
bee talk. You know.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, I definitely have some theories on honey and veganism. So,
So
what's
all
your,
of that, we will have a little standalone episode,
Yeah.
and we are going to get into it.
But Bird Box, here's the thing. I think with the Bird Box phenomenon, because really, Netflix is killing it when it comes to just taking over the conversation occasionally. And a lot of the times it's just by dropping things like they did with Stranger Things. They didn't do any promo for Stranger Things. All of a sudden you turn on Netflix one day and there's that big placard, Stranger Things, like, what's
This
this?
is true.
And
Yeah.
with Bird Box, they just, out of nowhere, you just saw the trailer about a week or two, I think maybe 2-3 weeks before it came out.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen it, you've heard your friends talk about it, and you've seen people either say it's the best thing in the world, or, oh my God, I need to shoot myself in the face because I just watched Bird Box. I mean, I've seen some people like, oh my God, it has wasted 2 hours. First of all, it's on Netflix. Just stop it if you don't
Stop.
like it. If you don't like something on Netflix, you can stop it. It's fine.
if you
No
don't
one's going to come
understand-
to your
right.
door and go, you need to finish Bird Box because your neighbors need to watch it.
Not
you know,
yet, at
it's not
least.
Blockbuster. You can stop stuff you don't like. And just watching the absolute hatred, and it's just a fun ride. It's just a suspense movie. It's a Quiet Place, but visuals instead. And it's just a fun ride. Enjoy it, people. Stop getting so mad and having to go to social media. And if you see someone liking it, I've seen people like getting attacked for liking it. So like, oh, well, you obviously don't know cinema. You know, it's just fucking Netflix, people. Enjoy.
To me, it's like whenever somebody complains about a show or a movie or whatever, it's like, what's the best kind of cheese, dog?
Velveeta,
what-
yo.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone's got their own, right? What is
Yeah.
it? Goat? Is it like mozzarella? Like what's the best
goat.
kind of cheese? Everyone's got their own
Camembert.
kind of cheese.
Oh,
You
it's
didn't-
so
Obviously,
stinky.
cave age Gruyere. But anyway.
Ooh.
Cave aged.
Some smoked Gouda though. Like we're not.
Gruyère's
like,
awesome.
Gouda's
Yes,
not even.
Gruyère's amazing.
Gruyère's really good.
Is
That's
there
what I do.
bad
My
cheese,
that's what I do with
really?
mac and cheese. Exactly.
No.
So you're a cheeseophile
Oh,
or a
come on.
cinephile, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, what is your favorite kind? What's the best kind? Like,
It
what
depends.
can nobody like? What do you like? Not like American cheese. You're gross. You like American cheese. You like goat cheese or blue or whatever. It's art is relative. It's taste. It's
Right.
what do you enjoy and people attacking other people for their taste is just juvenile. It doesn't make any sense.
It's just certain movies are like, are you going to be watching a hamburger or are you going to be watching a filet mignon? You're going into a movie like this and you're just going to have a hamburger.
If Sandra Bullock is a filet
I saw that
mignon.
movie.
No,
Yeah.
she's done some filet mignon and she's also done some hamburgers and she's done
a filet mignon lady.
She's done a few McRibs.
Hey-o.
She's
done a few McRibs. I would say it.
Miss Congeniality too.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah.
That's a
Regina
McRib.
King was in that though. And Regina King's doesn't do McRib.
I am really surprised by the amount of knowledge you have.
I have
about
no idea. But
My
this is
dad
awesome.
is obsessed with Sandra Bullock. I've probably seen them all. I've probably seen them all. No, yeah, I have the same reaction.
Was
Trust
it
me.
Speed? Was it Speed?
It might
Where did
have
it begin?
been. It
was
might
it?
have been.
Was it because she was Wildcat in that?
Probably. I mean, really, who can say?
Keanu though too.
Oh, I mean, he was hot in that. Let's be honest,
Yes.
Jack.
Yes.
Hearing bad things about his new movie, the movie about where he cloned his family.
Yeah. Well, what's it called?
Multiplicity, too.
No.
Oh.
Deep reference.
Got him.
reference.
I love that movie. It's so stupid. I love it.
But for some reason, that movie just was really divided people. I don't understand why. It's what it is. It's just a fun suspense movie. And
Exactly.
the ending is what the ending is. And be like, that ending sucked. I'm like, well, write it better. It was just what it was. It was just what it was. And it doesn't need to have that much vitriol or that much praise either. It's just kind of fun.
Make your own Bird Box, dog. We'll see it. We'll see it on Netflix.
Yeah, no doubt.
And make fun of that.
And don't do the Bird Box challenge, you freaking morons.
Oh,
What is the Bird Box
gosh.
challenge?
People
don't.
People have driving down the street blindfolded. People just to be like Bird Box. That's just okay. So let's face it. All the challenges just need to stop.
We need to challenge ourselves as a human race, but not like that, right?
Yeah, not like that. Not the set yourself on fire challenge.
I would
There
agree.
was actually a set yourself on fire challenge, and multiple people did it.
Francis the Mute did this with Mars Volta back in the day. That album cover with the person in that 1950s car with the hood, that sack, that canvas hood. Oh my god!
There was a Francis the Mute challenge?
No, only Bird Box.
Didn't have hashtags back then. It would have been way cooler.
Yeah, it's not that really
It's
cool.
a way cooler soundtrack to your challenge too.
That really cool. Yes, but that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle domino kind of that domino mask. I guess what is that called?
I don't know.
But that kind of thing, just a whole sack canvas hood. Jesus, that would be terrifying.
Francis the Mute challenge. Fuck the Bird
Get
Box
on it.
challenge.
Get on it.
Raise up Deftones.
Get retro with your stupidity.
Francis the Mute, put a red sack over your head and drive your car down the street.
Yeah, the cops would be like, "Oh, that was a good one.
No.
Get in the car."
And sing at the drive-in. Just to fuck with them.
They played at Will's Pub, the original Will's Pub, and
They
no
really?
one was there.
And Decemberists.
And no one was there.
We were talking about this the other day. Yep.
The history of
Crazy,
Will's Pub.
yep.
We could do an entire podcast just on the history of Will's
Damn,
Pub.
that's not
You're
bad
wearing
But never
Will's
invite
Pub
Will.
shirt right now.
What?
You're wearing Will's Pub shirt
Holy
right
shit,
now.
I am. Right around. I'm
Will
living
Walker, where you at?
it. What's up, Will? But just watch Bird Box and enjoy it. And if you don't like it, stop it and move on with your life to something
Watch
else.
some X-Men or something.
Yeah.
If you love
Life's
a movie,
not that important.
some movies, sure, there are bad movies
Wasted.
out there. The Room is a bad movie that is so bad it's good.
Disaster Artist is pretty good, though.
Oh, that's a great movie.
I
That's
didn't
a
see it
great
yet.
movie.
I didn't see it yet. It's supposed to be
It's
good.
really good.
Really good.
I liked it.
If you're getting a
Franco?
hamburger, enjoy a hamburger. If you're getting a steak, enjoy a steak. If you're getting some veganese, enjoy some veganese, regardless of it being
Veganese, like a
Veganese.
bean sprout cheese.
Bean
and,
sprout
like a
cheese.
fucking-
Now you're getting.
Hey,
vegan cheese is.
I don't know what
I
it is.
actually really do like some vegan cheese.
There's a couple
recommend
of brands.
a brand. Recommend a brand for us off the top of your head.
Dia's pretty good.
Dia is pretty good.
Yeah.
Dia
Dia-
melts.
Yeah, Dia melts deliciously.
Yes, it
Mellow
does.
What's
Mushroom uses Dia cheese if you get vegan.
But is
You
it
can get
way
a
worse
vegan
for you?
pizza from Mellow Mushroom?
Yes.
Yo.
Yep. And it's Dia cheese.
It's good.
Is it way worse for you? Because there's a lot of vegan food that people think that vegan just means healthy. It not
No.
Vegan's not
necessarily.
about health. It's about it's a psychological
Right.
Well,
thing.
no, it's a little bit
Spiritual thing.
It's different things for different people.
Yeah.
I think some people get into the fat of things. I think some people actually can't eat cheese and still miss eating cheese and want
Why
something
live?
similar.
Kaz
to
nailed it. Kaz nailed it for me. It's that idea of I'm not going to give
Continue to participate.
someone money to kill something. It's like
I can do that myself.
it's like if and
You don't have the balls.
If I'm hungry enough, things can
I'll
happen.
still eat honey.
Kaz, please sit down, Kaz. It goes back to, and if anyone out there is playing the Red Dead Redemption 2 game,
Yes.
it goes back to that honor system. And it's just one of those, like, Konami cheat codes to do the most amount to what you think is good. And Kaz nailed it. Like, to me, I'm like, even if you slip up, you have to always just remind yourself, okay, that was a slip up, go back. And that's what it is. It's not about only expressly eating healthy, because carrageenan, I think, is what Mandaddy's talking about. Carrageenan is a seaweed extract, and it's really bad for the heart. So a lot of
That's what it is.
really, really, really melty cheese has carrageenan. But also, it might not only be carrageenan, but how that reacts to another thing that is
Might also be the soul of an animal.
Exactly.
In that cheese that melts
how,
it
like,
so well.
soybeans are bad for your heart. Like, the guy who came up with the term vegan was like 99 or 108 when he died. And he was completely...
At the same time, George Burns drank martinis, smoked cigars, and ate steaks and lived to 100, you know?
He was
And the
also
guy
like-
who invented jogging died while jogging from a heart attack.
And then Atkins hit his
George
head.
Burns was like 87 pounds. So it's like we talked about this, the little dog versus the big dog, right? Like when you're like,
Yeah.
Matt, you're that little, like you live forever. Like it's not, that's to me, it doesn't like,
Damn it.
right? No, trust me. I had the same
That was
realization.
really sad.
I had the same realization. It's like
Angela-
a Great Dane versus a poodle.
Angela and
Enjoy
I...
the future, you fucking assholes.
Angela and I...
Smoke your cigars and eat your steaks. We'll go vegan.
Yeah, and still fucking die.
We are the chihuahuas to the sheepdogs that are Kaz and Mandaddy.
Exactly. We got to go vegan, dog. Like now.
Or just fucking dominate them and make them do our willing
No.
until we
Angela-
die, and then they can enjoy the rest of their lives.
Every day
Angela,
for the rest of my life.
let's just start eating meat.
Steaks
Yeah.
and cigars.
I will
Steaks and
double down on
cigars
meat and wine.
and whiskey.
and wine. Meat and wine.
Meat and wine, not just all I drink.
Meat, wine,
Honey
cheese.
and honeyed wine.
honeyed
like-
wine with cheese.
Oh,
They
yes.
chew on actual
Damn, this
bees.
actually
Get
sounds
me
really
another charcuterie board. Post.
Cured meats and olive tapenade. Yes.
Oh, yes, I'm on board. I love me some olive tapenade.
Damn, I'm getting hungry now.
This
Let's
is a
get the
movie
hell
review
outta
show.
here.
This is a movie review show, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
Mandaddy, what are we doing, and why are we taking
know
so
anymore.
long?
And why are we doing it?
Why
We've
are we
been
taking
away. We've been away. We had to.
We had to
do
get it all
this.
out.
We had to,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
it's been a
why
bit.
have
Just
we
like that
been?
piss we all just took.
How have we been taking so long to come back with something?
Because
so-
we got some new ideas that we want to introduce to you. And it was an idea that we kind of brought up in a mini-sode a while ago. And then this other company called Netflix decided, hey, guys, that's a good idea. We're going to fucking steal that. And so we got a choose-your-own sort of thing that we're working on right now.
Sort of thing.
So a way that you could do
Definitely.
a choose-your-own podcast idea with some little adventures that we're working on. And that takes a little bit. We've done a musical. And so now we're going to try this. And so it's going to take a little bit. It may be long form, maybe short form. We might actually just show up at your house and do it as a play.
I was going to say, that's the next set. That's
Yeah.
the next. That's
And
the
you
next
don't,
thing.
and not even if you're a subscriber or anything like that. Just tell your friends, like it's like The Ring. Like if you say, for instance, someone's ear, 7 days later we show up at their house, we perform this, and then they fucking die.
Or like the Sleep No More in New York, where it's like everyone wears masks and it's like this whole live theater going on as you're walking through a whole
Yes,
house.
This sounds
yeah,
awesome.
that is
What
that
is
is
that?
really really cool. Sleep
Actually-
No More in
Sleep No More.
Brooklyn, I think.
Yeah, I think it's in Brooklyn.
Ooh.
Yeah,
It's fucking awesome,
That's
and
where
it's
Biggie's
all. Is it Hamlet or is it
I think it's Macbeth.
Is it
The
Macbeth?
Scottish play.
Yes.
Scottish
Ooh,
play.
careful there.
Yeah.
Really really
Yeah.
cool.
I had an actor friend who posted a thing saying, like, post your favorite Shakespearean quote that you still live by this day. And so I put, hey, put that dude in a dress.
That's
So
pretty good.
anyway, so we got some
Take
new
that,
stuff coming up.
Shakespeare.
So we might throw some minis at you before we give you the new content.
So we've been hinting at birds. They all play a pivotal part. Like
Pivot!
they are the fulcrum.
Pivot.
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 They are the fulcrum to each of our stories.
And so we've got some bird oriented choosing of you to come in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're working on, and that's why we've been away for a little bit. And just because we don't always have to be here for you. I mean, we are here for you always, but we
Go
don't.
back
we,
and listen to
sometimes,
old episodes if we're not
sometimes,
doing new shit.
if we're not around,
just
just listen, and we're there for you that way.
Give us more listens.
Or you can
Yeah.
check us out on social media, like on Facebook, or you can check us out on Instagram,
And
or
we
you can
talk
check
back
us
to
out
y'all,
on Twitter, and
right?
we'll talk back to you and stuff. And you can tell your other friends, and you can tell them, hey, subscribe to these guys, and we show up their house, and we have to perform a play, and then they die.
Proactively.
If that's cool with you.
And
We
our podcast.
Well, sleep-
are coming home to roost,
Yes.
There you go.
Your home.
so to say.
We're coming home to your home, to roost in your home with birds
We're nesting.
that kill you.
Thank you so much for listening.
This is Ford
We're
Fritz.
going to peck at you.
You little pecker, you.